You know, I liked the original Empyrean when it came out. I owned it, in fact. And what sort of stole my heart at the time was a Kinnerton that just had a little more sort of excitement to it, a little more energy, a little more dynamics. But I thought that the build and the comfort and the overall presentation of the Empyrean was fantastic. Now the Empyrean 2 is here. Yep. Very familiar build, very familiar comfort, familiar sound, but I feel like they have pushed it a bit and they have tried to bring forth some of those qualities that were maybe a little bit lacking in the original version. I think, Meze has a house sound, which I like a lot. I've listened to a ton of their products, and this is sort of not the elite, but it's, the sort of the king of their house sound to a certain degree. And for me, that sound is fluid, full, with some airiness, lots of detail, but not sort of as much lit from within energy as some other headphones, if that makes any sense. Probably not. Anyway, let me back up real quick. These should look familiar. The build is still fantastic. The materials are still fantastic. They still feel light and super comfortable on the head. They still come with a flight case, although it's a slightly square, smallerish flight case, but cool, nice touch. They have lots of cable options, lots of different terminations. You can get copper or silver plated cabling, and you can get, your 3.5, your 4.4s, your XLRs, just anything you want, different lengths. So lots of nice cable options when you're ordering these. Still in that $3,000 range. They're easier to drive than some giant big planars, but don't let you fool you. Like, they do still like some juice to really come alive, especially in the bass region. Right out of the box, put them on my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I love these. Like, why haven't I been listening to the Imperians? The Imperians all these years since I had to part ways with my pair of Gen 1s. And then after spending a bunch of time with them, some of the little niggles, some of the little faults started to come out, but overall just a fantastic sounding headphone. They, like I said, they do have this sort of airy, fluid, full sort of sound. There is some sort of, for me, a little bit of harshness in the upper mids. Like, think about like somebody really slamming on the keys on a piano, and the strikes like sort of having an aggressive energy to them, which like maybe you like it, but for me it would sort of like break me out of the enjoyment zone of these things. I wouldn't call them like a big bass headphone. They can get a little overwhelmed by like complicated, really heavy bass passages. I do think if you give them more power, they do resolve better, and they do go a bit deeper and sound a bit fuller in that range. But the mid-range clarity and the connection to the performers, like vocals, is really, for me, probably their sweet spot and the thing that I respond to the most on these. They still got the great, like, super quick swappable pad. These ones have the sort of leatherette on the inside as opposed to the suede, and I like them better. I think it's the right level of energy for these headphones. Tried them with a bunch of amps. Right now the LTA Z10E is still sort of my reference amp, and it does a great job with these. It's a great pairing. It really pulls that extra level of detail out of them. It increases that feeling of space in the music. Could be maybe a little smidge dry, but you get sort of the breathiness, and you get connected to the with a really clean sound to the performer. On the opposite end, the Taboo, Deckware Taboo, just gave it a lot more soul, sort of woke it up. It, the sound of these can be a little reserved sometimes, and so it gave them just that nice extra bit of soulfulness. Yeah. Even tried like the little Chord Mojo. It's like nice, really nice, spacious presentation, lots of detail, clean, but a little cold tonally, and just doesn't quite handle the lower mids and bass region very well. It needs a little more juice than the Mojo could provide. I also have the Ilium HPA 23RM, actually RMH, on hand, and that was really probably my favorite combination, because that amp has some warmth but without sacrificing sparkle, and it just sort of emphasized a lot of the qualities that that I really enjoyed in this. Some other amps might emphasize like a little bit of the like sort of papery or flat qualities that this can present in, and this was just like all fullness, all beauty. So yeah, good combo. Let's compare this to a few things I have on hand here. The shiny Caldera. Woo. Similar price point, nice big planar, much heavier, very pretty, but in a very different way. Caldera's got more meat on the bone. The tones have a radiance and a body that's just more energy overall. The atmospheric elements too felt a bit more tangible, although at some point sort of overemphasized compared to the slightly more restrained Meze. And you know, the Caldera's just like kind of turning it up. You swap from one to the other, and you're like, oh, everything just got a bit more. And you know, that excitement can be good or bad, depending on how you want to listen and what you're listening to. There are certainly times though that I found very interesting when, with like a lower power amp, I was listening to like a funny Chromeo track, and with a low power amp, the Meze's almost got a little more bouncy, a little more energetic, because they could just take advantage of less power in a way that the Calderas couldn't. So you know, there's no one for one in this hobby, right? There's no absolutes. It's all about pairing and synergies and music taste and time of day and mood and blah 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 blah. Also, good comparison here, the old Susvara. Susvara definitely brings a level of detail, you know, takes it up a few notches from the Meze. It's sort of like leaning in a few steps closer to the performer, like a little more intensity, but it's drier. It's like parched almost compared to the Meze. And yeah, and the Meze has like this soft intimacy that's just not really the Susvara's thing, that's really nice on certain tracks and certain times of day. Yeah, I think that's probably going to do it here on these. I like the original. I like these. I think they're better from memory, which is, you know, forget about it. But yeah, really, really, really nice pair of headphones. All right, this is Signcraft. Signing out.